Good morning, Stage 4s. Today I'd like to go, back to some very basics about learning the instrument. You've been playing now for, well, at least one term. Some of you have been playing for 1 year and one term, and some of you for much longer. But what I'm going to talk about today will probably be useful for everyone. Again, going back to basics, we've already talked about the fact that the very thing that creates the sound is vibration. And every instrument we play requires vibration. The better the vibration, the better the sound that comes out of the end of the instrument. So we're going to talk about that with all our mouthpieces so far. We're going to start with the flute. Again, we've talked about how the vibration is created. The vibration is created by the air or the wind going across this hole and the wind being split that creates a vibration. That vibration then moves down the tube. Alright, so to create a vibration I'm going to blow through it. Notice as I relax the lips I get a warmer sound. So I can do that again, just keep the lips nice and relaxed. Alright, so using just the mouthpiece for a flute player and getting nice sounds is really vital. And then it makes it a lot easier to get the nice sound through the whole of the flute. So that's the flute, getting a vibration out of the flute. The clarinet and the saxophone are very much the same thing as far as vibration. The vibration comes from the reed, and I need to blow across that reed to make that vibration. You notice that I've included the barrel with my mouthpiece this time. It just gives a bit more of a lower sound, otherwise it's a bit squeaky. But again, getting the nicest sound possible from your clarinet relies on you getting the nicest sound possible in your vibration. So again, I can hold it tight, I can hold it loosely. Right? So with my lips, the tighter I hold it, the sharper the sound becomes, or the higher the sound becomes. In case you're wondering, the lips, the way I hold the lips, is called the embouchure. So if I ever talk about the embouchure, I'm talking about the way you are holding your lips. So when I'm holding my lips on the clarinet, I'm basically putting this on the bottom lip and blowing down. The clarinet's designed to be played going downwards. Alright, and that will give a bit of extra tension, a bit of pressure on the bottom of the reed, which will give you the sharper sound, the higher sound. Alright? If I don't, listen to this. The sound becomes lower and a bit distorted. Alright? So it's designed to be played in this shape. Again, another reed instrument, of course, is the saxophone. But it's designed to be played straight. This is a tenor saxophone, and again I've included the neck so that it gives you a bit more sound. Alright, so this one I'm going to play straight. Again, if I take away the lips a little bit, I can bend that sound. So if I lower, if I open my mouth slightly when I've got the embouchure on the mouthpiece, if I open my mouth, I can lower or flatten that sound. If I tighten my mouth a little bit, it'll go up to the extent before it actually closes off the sound totally. So again, practice using just the mouthpiece, or the mouthpiece and the neck, to try and get the nicest sound possible. Again, the saxophone is designed to be played almost straight out, but we still need to tuck our lip over a bit, put it on top, and practice getting that nice sound. You may notice that I get a sound that's what they call a vibrato. That's done by a number of ways, but at the moment I'm doing it by a slight movement of the lip. play the chin and lip, get that movement, and it warms the sound. Again, that requires practice with just the mouthpiece or just the mouthpiece and the neck. We move on to the brass instruments, and as you would know, even if you play a flute or anything else, brass instruments can't be played just by blowing into the instrument. You need to create the vibration here. And the more you practice getting that vibration, the better that sound out of the instrument is going to become. So even if you've been playing for a number of years, practicing just buzzing, just using your embouchure is very useful, and changing that sound. Alright, so practice that, but then you can put it to play in one of these mouthpieces. You may notice I've got a variety of mouthpieces. Here we have a French horn mouthpiece, which is very similar to a very small drain pipe. They're not easy to make sound out of, but so that's a French horn. Going up a little bit further, this is a trumpet mouthpiece, a bit different trumpet mouthpiece. It's one that I use normally. So it's a trumpet mouthpiece. And again, the better you make the buzz here, the better the tone that comes out of the instrument. Alright? We're going down to a small trombone mouthpiece. And then a large trombone mouthpiece or a euphonium mouthpiece. They'll require a different way of making the sound. You can get a tuba mouthpiece, which people like Blake and Max will know, and they are even bigger, and you have to really relax into that mouthpiece. Right, almost going instead of going. Alright? So that's the basis, or the basics, of making a sound out of the instrument. And it's really useful to practice just with the mouthpiece or just the mouthpiece and barrel of the reed instruments and the head of the flute. As we've probably said before, the vibration is very important, but how does that sound become lower or higher? We're going to demonstrate very quickly, starting with the clarinet. So you get an idea of how you can work out the notes. We know that the notes on the stave go up as we go higher, they go down as we go lower. Same with when we're doing an instrument. The more holes we cover, the longer that vibration becomes. So if I'm covering extra holes, then I'm going to get a lower note. So let's just try that. I'm going to have no holes covered at all for a clarinet. And for those clarinet people, that's a G. The first hole I see that's open on the clarinet is this hole back here. Alright, so let's cover that hole. But there is actually another hole before that, and it's covered with this one here. So to cover that one, we press down this one. So that becomes our F sharp. That's a semitone movement. So if you notice down the whole instrument, there are holes all the way down. You'll be looking all the way around it. There are holes, some of them are open, some of them are closed, and you need to push down something to open them. So if I'm going to go down, let's go from the G, and we're going to go down chromatically. Chromatically means one semitone at a time. And that's gone all the way from a G down to a bottom E. And that's going down one semitone at a time. And that's covering up, or opening at sometimes, one hole at a time all the way down to the bottom of the instrument. So that's generally how all the instruments, those with keys, are played. If we're talking about the brass instruments, it's slightly different. We still have the same idea, the same physics behind it. We make a vibration here, the vibration travels down the tubing and eventually comes out the end, the bell in this case. We need somehow to extend that vibration, and to do that with a trumpet we push down the valves. That one has the littlest extra bit of tubing, the second littlest extra bit of tubing, and the third littlest. So I can work this out by closing and adding different bits of tubing at a time. And that's gone from a G down to a C. To change it further, I need to change my embouchure, change the vibration length, so that I go into the next harmonic. So if I'm going to go to the next harmonic, I change the vibration length of my lips, and I go from there. The last instrument I'm going to demonstrate very quickly is the trombone. It has a different method, but a very simple method of extending the length of the tube. So in this case, we still make the vibration, but as you can see, the tube length extends by pushing the tube length longer. So we are not, we don't just have semitone movements, we can move in between the semitones with the trombone. So we can go every note and we can be perfectly in tune, or very perfectly out of tune. But if we're moving in small increments of about that much, then we can go down one semitone at a time. So, stage fours. I hope today you've learned a little bit more about how your instrument works, how to create a better vibration, both in the brass instruments and the woodwind, and how the vibration length determines the pitch of the instrument. Thank you.